The Big Ten championship is here, and Ohio State is ready to put the pedal down against Indiana.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Feel Good Friday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. During today's show, we will dive into my score prediction once again for the Big Ten Championship. It's a 1-2 matchup, Ohio State versus Indiana, as well as discuss some narratives going around about the Buckeyes that don't make any sense. But before we get to any of that, y'all got to bring in my guy. It's Jeff Hunt. Jeff needs sports. Jeff needs all the Buckeye football he can get. And if you can't tell by my voice, I'm excited for this game. I've been looking forward to this game all week. And Jeff, when I think about this game specifically, I think back to a statement Ryan Day made about a month ago about Ohio State putting their foot on the gas when the time is right. And I feel like that time is now. I feel like the time for Ohio State to put their foot on the gas is now. And they may want to say Jay should have done that against Michigan. I think the injuries between Jeremiah State and Carnell Tate, as well as the snow and the inclement weather, kind of dictated how the Buckeyes did that game. Also, Michigan did what they could to try to slow down the offense. I mean, Ohio State probably could have scored more points, but they definitely slowed the game down when they needed to. There were also some communication errors, and it was stopped with the headset stuff. So there's the thing. I think Ohio State would have done a little bit more scoring, but Ryan Day was thinking about the big picture. But you're in a spot you wanted to be all season long to get to the Big Ten title. Ryan Day is open about talking about players that have never played in this game, Jeff. Not just won the Big Ten title. They've never played in this game, and it's a goal of theirs to be here and to lift that trophy at the end of the day. And there's no better time than the present for Ohio State to put their foot down, to go all out, and to attack the Hoosiers this weekend.
Yeah, again, thanks for having me on, Jay. This is great. Thanks for Locked On. It's and you're right. It's been a wonderful season to be a Buckeye fan. And we have a lot of these, and I love it. But yeah, what I picked up on, like, I was one of the ones all season. I've been on your show about every week. Again, shout out to you for having me. And I'm definitely always a little fearful, a little pessimistic about the flip the switch talk and the when it matters, it'll matter talk, and the hit the gas pedal talk. And, I watch them play sluggish against some of the teams. And, I even watch them play UCLA, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Nah, but I have respected that Ryan Day, and it's funny how, Jay, how many shows we've done about should we fire Ryan Day? I apologize, Ryan Day, but we've done them. And I was not on board, and I'm like this and that and blah, 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 blah. Shut us all up last year. Finishes this year with, finally, finishing the, like I keep calling it the Tiger Slam. Like he didn't do it in order, but he won the national championship and then he beat Michigan after that. Whatever, I'll take it. 365 days. We got almost everything done. We got one more game to go that we're talking about. But earlier in the year, I was so pessimistic about could they step on the gas? Could Julian Sayin do everything they say? And when they needed it, they did. And then when they played Michigan, like me, I think you and I watched it the same way. A little nervous at first. Obviously, I'm throwing stuff and screaming and saying words that I shouldn't. And then I realize as they start, putting their foot on the throat. And then I look at what Michigan, how they chose to play it like chumps instead of like going, for the Big Ten championship like they should have been on the field. They were more worried about causing fights or disrupting the young Ohio State players or, guarding the midfield, all these things that aren't important, to the season. And Ohio State got into business mode and it was a wrap. And so that was the first time I was like, man, Ryan Day's been wearing this on his sleeve all season and telling us all that matters is Michigan. All that matters is we want to win the Big Ten championship. And then we want to go to the playoffs. And I'm like, I was all, me, playoffs, all that matters, go to the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Nah, man, this dude means it. He brought his team to play. He exercised one demon. And I truly believe that he is serious about wanting to win this Big Ten championship and be back in Indianapolis. And, that was our home for it feels like 2014 through 2019, like we owned Indianapolis and it was a great night. And I think he's lost grip of that. And I do appreciate that he's like, man, we do want to win the Big Ten. It does matter. We want to take control of it. Oregon doesn't, run this conference. Indiana's not going to run this conference. And I believe him now. And now I'm like, oh, this could get scary, because if these players, this squad believes him, like this is a dangerous team.
Oh, man, dangerous is a good way to describe this team, because when you think about what they've done to get to this point, and not just the Michigan game, Jeff, but all 12 games in the regular season, they have been working and they have been grinding and sometimes playing a brand of football that is a little boring to watch, but they've been working on things in real time on the field on Saturdays for this game. And you're going up against a team in Indiana who has, I believe, the Big Ten Coach of the Year. They have the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and Quarterback of the Year in Fernando Mendoza. They didn't have any offensive linemen that were first-team All-Big Ten players, which was a little bit shocking. I thought for sure 51 Montgomery would have been a first-team All-Big Ten guy. But I think these guys look at some of the things that are being said about them and some of the things that they have done so far and saying, oh, we have more. We have more to prove, but also we have more work to do. And I think that them being a dangerous team, it's going to help them lean into having more work to do. But also, Jeff, we can't gloss over the reality of this week. Brian Hartline has a new job. He is still at Ohio State. He's calling plays. He's the OC for this game. But also, you have early signing day. So there's so many different factors and different things pulling Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, and the other coaches every which way. Those things are distractions. This team has done a great job of dodging distractions all season. And I'm curious how you think they're going to be able to, or if they'll be able to, dodge distractions this weekend when they have a lot of different stuff going on that you normally have on a college football week.
Yeah, and what I like about this team, and this is where Ryan Day, and we've talked about it, is perfect for this, this world of college football that we're in and this stage of college football, is that he's put together a great coaching staff. Like, I don't think for a second that Matt Patricia spent any time worrying about whether a kid's going to flip on signing day or worried about this or worried about that. And that's a credit. I think they've got, and I personally know some of the people that they have in place that to do the stuff behind the scenes to keep this factory going that we don't talk about, that we don't know about. Shout out to my, a local kid named Matt Hiddle that keeps the NIL thing rolling and, does all these things behind the scenes. So Ryan Day doesn't have to. And I truly believe when they say that. I don't think there's any distractions. And also, these players that are there, they know the deal. Like, they're all like you and I and the national media and everybody speculates all that. Like, man, Sonny Styles can just text somebody and be like, where are you going? Or Jeremiah Smith can text somebody and be like, what, like, they're in the end, they're not sitting in bated breath watching TVs worrying about this stuff. They live in the world. Yeah. And I don't think for a second that any of the players, none of this makes a difference. Now, Hartline, I would say, here's the sentiment to Hartline. I would say it goes like this. I would say that the players took pride in getting Brian Hartline the job. Like, that's a respect to the players that performed under Brian Hartline. This isn't a, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? It's a, we got him hired, to South Florida. Now it's cool that he's going to call the games. If anything, they're going to play harder or play better, or so I think it's a positive. Like, I think Ohio State gets it. I really think that they showed us last year. They get it. They understand how, the modern world works. They understand how all these things work. I think, and the defense has done zero this year to make us think that they let their, take their eye off the prize or they're not doing their job or whatever. Patricia has not done one thing to make me think that he's trying to get a job or anything. Like, I don't think it's a problem at all. I think Ryan Day put the people in place to help him get to where he's at. Not that it's not a stressful week. Of course you want to get, better players and all these things, but no, I don't think it's an issue. I think Ohio State, the staff goes deeper than even what you see on the field and what you see in that booth. It goes on and on and on. there's hundreds of people that are paid to take this stress off of the team. You know what I mean? Like, and again, we talked about it before the show, Jay. The advantage they have is a Ohio State brand does most of the recruiting. So in all honesty, like, Day doesn't have to travel across the country to try to talk a kid, into signing with them at the last second and take away from planning for this game week. So no, I think it's fine. I think it probably brings in a focus. I think they're going to rally around Brian Hartline, and the offense is probably going to play, more probably as crisp as it's played all year. Every play that he calls, I think they're going to want to do him the respect. I don't know if that's how it's going to go like down south with Ole Miss. I don't know if they're going to play in spite of their coach. Like, these are different situations, but trust me, as an Ohioan, as a Buckeye fan, we all love Brian Hartline. We're so happy for him. It's going to be awesome. The defense is going to show up. There's no reason to think so. So I think if anything, it insulates them, and they're more ready for this than any team in the nation, because they're the only team that's won a 12-team college football championship.
Speaking of being ready and more ready than any other team in the country, how ready do we think the offense is going to be for Indiana tomorrow? Speaking specifically about what they might do to attack the Hoosiers defense, we'll dive into that after the break. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. So, Jeff, let's keep this conversation about the offense rolling on and Brian Hartline. The Hoosiers' defense has been strong. I've been using a word opportunistic to describe how they are when it comes to forcing turnovers, even finding creative ways to create turnovers. The secondary is very, very strong. The front is stronger than I believe it was a year ago. And even with everything the Hoosiers bring to the table, this game is on the heels of the best game Ohio State's offensive line has played all season long against their toughest opponent. I know Texas's defense does certain things, and they did some things against Wisconsin's defense, which is better than advertised. The defense at Michigan, it's not just a physical battle, it's a mental battle for a lot of the guys up front, and they passed that test with flying colors. And Jeff, I have no reason to believe that the offense won't pass this test with flying colors. The offensive line is playing well. Bo Jackson is really coming into his own, and this running game is getting stronger, accompanied with Julian Sayin, who is, to me, the best quarterback in the country. I have no reason to believe that this offense will not be hitting on all cylinders tomorrow in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Full credit to Indiana. Their defense is as good as people think. This isn't a they're going to get exposed situation. No. I do believe they're as good. I mean, obviously everybody watched the Oregon game, and that's really what won that Oregon game late was, man, the defense turned it on, got the turnover, good calls, and all these things. But I do believe that Ohio State has some. If the Ohio State defense wasn't so good, we would only be talking about the Ohio State offensive line and how good they've played this year. And Jay, we've done shows to where we were like, Ohio State's offensive line is built to pass protect. And when they got to open it up, they succeed, but they can't run the ball. Man, what we saw, against Michigan in the snow is movement, activity, creating lanes for Bo Jackson, all these little things that you got to do to get chunks. Like how many, Ohio State fans are constantly like, great, it's 2nd and 7 again because we get 3 yards or whatever. And the early in the season, it was like that. The running game stumbled a little. It was do or die. Now they're starting to get some chunks, and they're starting to get 7-8 yards of carry. And then in pass protection, Julian Sayin is comfort. Like how you could play a game like that in Ann Arbor and your jersey, Julian Sayin looked like a fan.
Yeah, he did.
Or a
Yeah, he did.
backup. Like he was clean in a game in Ann Arbor, Michigan in the snow. Unbelievable. And that's all offensive line. And what that allows though is he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to have eyes in the back of his head. He doesn't have to shift his focus. He can have confidence in throwing the ball. When you got a guy as accurate as him throwing the ball, he makes great decision. And now you got him on turf. You got him in a controlled environment. So now you got a guy. He's not like if all of a sudden he becomes erratic, it would be the first time that we've ever seen him do that. So there's nothing that makes me think all of a sudden he's going to start floating the ball or throwing at guys' feet. Like it's going to be on their hands. And then again, Ohio State, like let's say like they've got the athletes out there that you get it in their hands and they got momentum, they're going to take advantage of it. And it would be silly to act like Indiana's seen a team like this on turf. They just haven't because they haven't played Ohio State. Again, it's not their fault, but they just haven't. So, and Jackson is really, he's starting to see, I full credit today. We did a show a few weeks ago about, man, it's time to pick a running back. Yeah. I'm not saying that Jackson, I don't even know if he's that much better than anybody else on the team, but I love the dedication and they started getting him the reps, Jay. And we talked about this, and these guys, they're like boxers. They like to get punched a little bit and then they like to counter. And now all of a sudden Jackson's starting to see the seams, and he's not looking 2 yards ahead of him. You can see him looking 10 yards ahead of him and not worrying about the stuff at his feet. And that's dangerous. His pass protection has picked up.
Yes.
By leaps and bounds. Like everything that Jay and Jeff said about 4 weeks ago, he's done. Mm-hmm. And so now like, what do we like? Let's remember too, like when we get to Indiana, like our players get faster too. Our players get better too. Our players aren't going to fall down either. And so if you're Indiana's defense, you're like, man, everybody on that team got a little bit better. There is nothing that makes me think that this offensive line, they looked healthy at the end of the game. They look like they're starting to, get some fight in them, sort of like last year about this time of year. Mm-hmm. Indiana's front four is really good, but if Indiana can't get pressure with their front four, which there's no reason they should. If they get pressure with their front four, I'll just tell you right now, Indiana's winning. That's any team. If you can pressure with your front four in college football or NFL football for that matter, okay, now we're in trouble. I don't think that's going to happen. So now you got to start sneaking guys up, and now you got to start bringing extra. So now's when your Innis's and your tight ends, who knows which tight end it'll be. So now all of a sudden they're open. There's where Ohio State's depth and across the board is going to come in handy. So like, I mean, they're the number one team in the country. They haven't lost in a year. Of course, I'm going to sit here and say like they're a bad matchup for anybody. Do I think Indiana's defense will play good? I really do. I don't think they're going to just follow. I don't think it's going to be like Wisconsin 59-0.
Right.
But I'm not concerned that they're going to expose something on our offense like at all. I mean, I don't think Sayin is not going to get touched, but I'm not sitting here thinking that all of a sudden, because Michigan wanted to kill him. Like, you got to be straight. And let's talk about Michigan. Michigan was a good team trying to go to the playoffs, couldn't get to Julian Sayin at their place in the snow. So like, there's no reason for me to think all of a sudden this offensive line is just going to have a brain fart and, not be able to protect him. So I'm probably more confident probably a little more confident in the offense this week than I have been in a while.
We're going to hit the break a little bit early because I want to continue this conversation about things that we are looking forward to with Ohio State's defense and one player on offense. That's coming up after the break. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is a gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos. Endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos through the Aura app. Add a personalized message right inside the frame so the gift feels thoughtful the moment it's opened. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. So, Jeff, I'm not really in the business of making bold predictions before Ohio State plays, but this feels like there's a certain player on offense that will get more attention by the offense than normal and probably less attention by the Hoosiers defense. Brandon Inniss has been stronger over the past few weeks, and he's a guy you, myself, and even Mo have been kind of critical of because our expectations were one way, and we were wondering if he was going to meet them, and at times he wasn't. But there's a loyalty and a trust that Ryan Day has in him, and they believe that Inniss will be big at one point. And I feel like in this game specifically, this seems like a 2-touchdown game for Brandon Inniss. I'm not going to say it's both touchdown catches. It could be a return for a touchdown via punt or pickup. I'm not sure. But this seems like a game that Brandon Inniss is going to have 2 touchdowns. But also, Jeff, at the same time, I think this defense in the pass rush is going to get after Fernando Mendoza in the same way they got after Curtis Walker last year. If you remember, Jeff, it seemed like in the first quarter, Jim Knowles was kind of baiting Signetti, trying to figure out what's going on. And Mike Shanahan's on the other side like, what are y'all doing? And the next thing you know, they unleashed the dogs. Cody Simon had, I think, 2 or 2.5 sacks, and the rest was history. And I feel like Patricia's not going to wait. There's no reason to wait. They're just trying to bait and just trying to fill things out. No, I feel like from Jump Street, the Buckeyes are going to have their foot down, and they're going to get after the quarterback all day long. I'm not putting a number on how many sacks a guy may have. Well, I will, because I think Kaden Curry is going to have at least 1 sack in this game. He played a state championship in high school in this stadium and won, so he's familiar with what Lucas Oil Stadium is all about. He didn't live far from Lucas Oil Stadium, and so only prediction I really have statistically, Inniss scores 2 touchdowns, and Kaden Curry has at least 1 sack.
Oh man, that's great. I just want to be clear about everybody. We love Brandon Inniss. We're disappointed with the season he's had. We're not blaming him for it.
No.
Me and my son, we love this guy. And if I have to rank my all-time touchdowns versus Michigan, his touchdown versus Michigan last week, but if I'm Indiana, I'm like, uh-oh. Like that dude can do that. If I'm an NFL scout, I'm like, oh, yep, pencil him in. You know what I mean? Like he instantly became Ladd McConkey in like 2 seconds. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's their third wide receiver. Like he's a dog. Like, so yeah. I think for some reason something felt good about last week, and I don't think Day's going to throttle it down. I don't know if he's going to go to running back by committee again, or if he's going to try and play this out with the running game. It feels like a Bo Jackson game. It feels like let's get you know what? Let's just combine it. Let's say, hey, we're going to get Innis's 2 touchdowns early, and then we're going to turn Bo loose, and we'll say combined, he's going to have another 175, and I won't say 2 touchdowns because I think there's a situation to where there's a goal line thing and Donaldson gets one or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, but I'm going to say like Bo Jackson comes away with this and everybody's like, wow, they've got a star. People buying jerseys. Like he's Ohio State's favorite player coming out of the game. On defense, I'm rolling with my man Igmanosin. He sees the end of the road. He's fired up. Him getting the penalty at the end of the Michigan game was my favorite part of the game that didn't matter. I love the guy. He's a fighter. He takes a lot of flack, but like, if you're like, the people like me that love defensive backs and love to study the art, he's way better than people think. I'm not worried about the penalties. I think Igmanosin can have a big game, especially like they're going to get tested, with these are grown-ups at wide receiver for Indiana. Like these are absolute grown-ups, know how to play the game. This is it for them, that they want the championship. They would love to put the Ohio State, win on their resume. So like, it's going to be a battle out there, especially say if you're bringing heat, guess what? That means your outside is got pressure. So I think Igmanosin's going to show up, a couple deflections, maybe an interception. If nothing else, some kind of splash, crazy ass play that like has everybody, going crazy. So that's my 2 guys. I'm going with the momentum from the Michigan game and taking Bo Jackson, Igmanosin as my stars.
Jeff, I'm going to skip the part about people disrespecting Ohio State because that's what happens no matter what. And with our time remaining, I want to just dive into our score predictions
Let's
really
do it.
quickly. Jeff, on Thursday's show, I unveiled mine for the first time on this show. I have Ohio State winning 31-17. There
Okay.
are two things that are constants with Ohio State all season long. And I preface it like this. There have been times Jeremiah Smith and Colonel Tate weren't on the field. As great as they were, they literally weren't available to play. Bo Jackson didn't play against Texas, and they kind of slow rolled him into getting him up to speed to what it means to be a lead back in college football. The two constants have been Julian Sayin and this defense. And with those two things in mind, I have no reason to believe that this defense will not be able to contain and slow down the Hoosiers' offense, and no reason to believe that Julian Sayin will not play the efficient football that he's played all season long, and even go a little bit further and cement his spot as winning the Heisman Trophy in 2025. I think 31-17 will be the final score. The Buckeyes win their first Big Ten title since 2020, and Ryan Day has another trophy in his trophy case, and another reason that people should give him the title of potentially being the best coach in the sport.
Yeah, I love it. So I went sort of like you did, but a little different. So I went 31-24.
Okay.
But I want to preface this by saying I think the last 7 doesn't mean anything. I think that I do think Indiana can move the ball, and I think they can score. I'm not going to disrespect their offense after what they did this year. Excuse me. But I do think, I think the defense, I think it'll look better than it is, but I could totally see a big play. I think Indiana is more apt to get in desperation mode because, as we talked about earlier, I think they, just for lack of a better term, care about this game.
Yeah.
And then I won't say more, just in a different way. But then I also think that Ryan Day, like you, is like, no, we're not. If once he gets to like the third quarter or whatever, he's like, no, we're not leaving here without the victory. This place is awesome. The Buckeyes have played great there over the years. I think they've lost one game in Indianapolis out of all these championship games they've played. There's no reason that I'm going to think they're not going to be overwhelmed. And we didn't get to talk about the disrespecting, but essentially everybody to make Ohio State a slight favorite is total disrespect to Ohio State in their minds. I know that's crazy, but that's the truth. So basically making it almost a pick 'em game is telling Ohio State, we don't think you can do this. And so that's all they need. I mean, we saw it, 4 games in the playoffs. We just saw it against Michigan. Like, we saw all these things all year. And so I think that if they got to make up fuel and stir up things to get them going. And I think also that Day can just roll a team out there and say, you know what, worst case, have fun. Worst case, we're getting a bye week. It just changes who we play. Don't worry about that, guys. Go out here, hang a banner, have a great time. We'll go back home and have a couple weeks off to get mean. But I just think that to have the better team and the psychological advantage is just such a rare, a rare gift in college football that I just don't see how they don't come away with this victory in Indianapolis.
Yeah, Jeff, this game's going to be fun. I think they said the last time there was a 1 versus 2 in the conference championship game was Florida and Alabama, or Florida and Georgia back in the 2000s.
Probably Florida, Alabama, the Tim Tebow game.
Yeah,
the Tim Tebow crying game.
That was it. And then the last time I think Ohio State had a 1 versus 2 matchup was the game of the century in 06, I think. Because I don't think they didn't play the number 2 team. I don't know who they play. I forget the rankings in the playoff last year.
Well, I mean, technically, no, that's right. They were what, 3? Penn State was ranked over them when they went to the Texas game this year, weren't they?
Yep.
Remember Penn State?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I do remember Penn State.
That was disrespectful. I apologize, Penn State.
It's okay. That school doesn't have has barely any commits in the recruiting class. It's a disaster. It's a disaster over there.
I would not want to be 1 versus 2 against Ohio State and not be one of the big brands. Like Alabama, Georgia, okay. Indiana, I would not want to be number 2 in the country and be Indiana. I'd rather be 10, 12.
I'm going to close the show with this, and I have not found the video. I just remember Curt Cignetti's introduction to Indiana athletics. He was on the basketball court talking to the basketball fans, and Curt Cignetti, out of his mouth, yelled, "Purdue sucks," and everybody cheered. That's IU's rival. Everybody cheered. The next thing he said was, and so do Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a year ago, outside of Signetti being a little big head and a little arrogant,
Yeah.
why Will Howard put the cigarette out and stuffed it out on the sideline? Ryan Day can be petty. And I think Ryan Day might
It's one of
pull
my
that
favorite
up.
things about him.
Oh, Brody. I think Ryan Day might pull that video up and show it to the players in the locker room before going out for introductions before the
Mhm.
Big Ten Championship game. And if he does that, y'all better watch out because they might put my score prediction might be a little low for the Buckeyes offense and a little high for the Hoosiers because they're going to want to send a message that, oh, no. You don't just say we suck and then think we're just going to come in here and just beat you by 14 points.
Yeah, you don't
No.
accidentally get to Ohio State. That's all I want to tell Indiana. Like, this isn't an accidental team.
I know Signetti's confident. Sometimes his confidence comes off as cocky.
Yeah.
He better watch because this team is different than last year's team, Jeff. This year's Ohio State team, they feel like they still have something to prove, and they're not leaning on last year's national championship.
Yeah.
They're leaning on their work, their grind, their preparation, and leaning into this is our team. We haven't done anything yet.
And remember, they know how to do this.
Yes.
Like that's got to factor in. Ryan Day knows how to do this.
Yes.
Like,
Jeff, my guy, you got any words, man, before we close up this show?
no, man. Just everybody enjoy the week. We know we're going to the playoffs. Just watch, enjoy it and try to take in, the end of what I call the regular season. We all expected to be here, and be kind to each other. And then in a couple of weeks here, the playoffs are going to start. That's a whole different animal. But just try to. We got the rare. Here's what I say, Jay. We got the rare chance to just enjoy a game. It literally isn't the end of the world if it doesn't go our way. And then the next one will be. So we get a reprieve from the prep. We can just watch our team and have fun and support them and be like, we'll get them next time, worst case, which is a rare game for Ohio State. I can't wait. They've been great all year. I have zero reason to think that they're going to let me down.
We will be live after the game on YouTube. It'll be a late Saturday night, but anybody can just join us live. We'll be live on the YouTube, the Locked on Buckeyes YouTube page, instantly reacting to the Big Ten Championship. It's number 1 versus number 2, Ohio State versus Indiana, for a shot to be the crowns and the champions of the Big Ten Football Conference in 2025. You can follow Jeff on X at jhunt006. Follow me on the same platform at jsteven07. Locked on Buckeyes is also on any social media platform out there. So if you want more Buckeyes from Locked on Buckeyes, you can definitely tap into us on the social media apps. We're up out of here, guys, on a Friday. Feel good on this Friday and have fun tomorrow watching the Buckeyes win the Big Ten title.